What's happening here, Dat Nation? Welcome into today's show. We got a jam-packed show for you today. We're going to do a mock draft roundup where I'm going to be reacting and giving my thoughts to the Mel Kiper Mock Draft 3.0, the Daniel Jeremiah Mock Draft 3.0, and the Warren Sharp Mock Draft 4.0, which was done by Ryan McCrystal. I'm excited to get into it. It's mock draft season, baby. Free agency is officially here. The offseason is in full swing. And if you're excited for all the moves the Saints could potentially make, hit the thumbs up icon and like the video. All right, and before we get into those mock draft reactions and analysis, I want to just get another quick reminder. Please go down and subscribe for daily Saints news, rumors, updates. We're getting you videos. We're getting you stuff on the community tab, live shows, YouTube shorts. What aren't we doing? I don't know. I couldn't tell you. We're doing everything here, so please lock us in, subscribe. We're trying to beat the Broncos breakdown and Vikings now to 15,000 subscribers by the end of the offseason. We're making good traction on the Broncos breakdown. Matthew Peterson, you better watch out because the Dat Nation is coming. Lock us in, subscribe today for more Saints videos. All right, so let's start off with the Mel Kiper Mock Draft 3.0. He had the Saints taking Bryan Bresee out of Clemson at number 29 in the latest mock draft, which dropped early this morning. So here's what Mel Kiper had to say, and Bryan Bresee, has been mocked to the Saints a lot, and not just by Mel Kiper, but by a lot of analysts as well. But here's what Mel Kiper had to say in his most recent mock draft. New Orleans has tried to plug a few of the holes, notably by turning over the defensive tackle position, adding Kalen Saunders and Nathan Shepard in free agency. Those two defenders have never played full-time roles. However, so the Saints should add another tackle if Bresee is available. Bresee had a fantastic workout at the combine, making my risers list. He could see the field early and often for this team. So let's talk about Bryan Bresee. Last year in limited games, 15 tackles, 5.5 tackles for a loss, 3.5 sacks for the Clemson Tigers. Now, he missed time due to off-field stuff, some injury stuff. There was a lot of things that went on with Bryan Bresee, but at the end of the day, this guy is what I like to think as just a hard-nosed. He can take something on the chin. He can make it happen. He can play through adversity. I like Bryan Bresee as a football player. And when you take a look at what he did at the NFL Combine, the rankings right here. So this is by the position. So across defensive lines, defensive tackles. 40-yard dash, 4.86. He was the fourth fastest. His 10-yard split, 1.71, which was second fastest. The kid's quick. And speed kills, as we all know. And I would love to see some speed on the defensive interior. Obviously, having a big guy up front, clogging up the middle of the offensive line can be awesome. It can be very beneficial. And I will say, I think size matters in certain circumstances, and especially in a defensive line. But when you have speed like this, it's hard to pass it up. His vertical jump was 29, which was seventh, across all defensive linemen. And bench press, he did 22 reps, which was tied for 8th. So let's take a look at the defensive line depth chart and see where he could fit in. So obviously, Kalen Saunders, Nathan Shepard, your early free agency additions. Kalen Saunders, a big-bodied guy. I mean, just an absolute brick wall of a human being, a unit, if I've ever seen one. Nathan Shepard, also a solid defensive tackle. I think Bresee, though, could fill in front of Nathan Shepard because I like Kalen Saunders' size, and as I said earlier, size matters in certain circumstances, and this is one of those circumstances. So I think Bryan Bresee could fill in on this defensive line depth chart and help out the New Orleans Saints and Dennis Allen's defense. But at the end of the day, guys, I want you to get in the war room. It's not about me. It's all about you. Would you draft Bryan Bresee at number 29 overall? Type D for draft, type P for pass. Let me know who Dat Nation. I'll be interacting with all of y'all in the comments section. All right, so let's discuss Daniel Jeremiah's mock draft. He had the Saints taking tight end out of Notre Dame, Michael Mayer, to the Saints at number 29 overall. And here's what he had to say on the mock draft. Mayer would be an excellent value pick at this point in round 1. He's a complete tight end, and Derek Carr would have a reliable security blanket on third down. Now, taking a look at his stats in 2022 for the Fighting Irish, Reliable is a very good way to put it. 67 receptions, 809 yards, 12.1 yards per catch. And then he also had 9 touchdowns on the year in just 12 games played. And let's take a look at his combine results. So in the 40-yard dash, he had a 4.7, 10-yard split, 1.66, 32.5 for the vert. His broad jump at 9.10. His NFL comp has actually been Jason Witten. I'm seeing all this comparison online. I kind of like it. I kind of like the idea of grabbing Mayer because, as we all know, Darnell Washington is a player that a lot of Saints fans are high on to go and draft. But I'll say this. I think that Mayer may actually be the best all-around tight end. I think he's the most complete tight end. And I agree with Daniel Jeremiah saying he could fit and be a good safety blanket for Derek Carr. Now, obviously, you're going to sit here and say, well, what about Juwan Johnson, Trace? Don't you call him Mr. Reliable? Well, yeah, I do, because he is Mr. Reliable. But why not have 2 of them, you know? And I also think that Michael Mayer could also go and push Adam Troutman to make him perform better. Mayer is pretty good at blocking. He's pretty good at pass catching. Absolutely, he could use growth, and he could get better on both sides of that. But if you want somebody who's a really good pass catcher, you can go one way. If you want somebody who wants to be or you want a really solid run blocker, you can go another direction. But if you want the perfect mix of in between where you can really try and mold this guy into somebody who will be a contributor to the offense, I think you go Michael Mayer. So let me know, Saints fans, should the Saints draft Michael Mayer? Type Y for yes, type in for no, and let me know, because I'm also going to have the link in the comment section and the description to some fresh Derek Carr jerseys. They are out. I made you a promise, Dat Nation. The minute that they dropped, I was going to be pushing them for you. So we have women's sizes, or we have women's in all sizes. We have men's in all sizes. I know the number says 0. That's not the number he's wearing. He's going to be rocking number 4. So when you order the jersey, it's going to come in at number 4. This is just a placeholder picture. That's what was on the website. So, you know, don't shoot the messenger. Yell at fanatics. I don't know what to tell you. But go get geared up. Chatsports.com/SaintsCar. I just ordered my Derek Carr jersey. Shout out Wild114. And I hope to see all of y'all order one as well with our link. One more reminder, it will be in the comment section and the description of today's video. Go get geared up. So let's round things out with the Warren Sharp Mock Draft 4.0. Ryan McCrystal, he is the draft analyst that works at the Warren Sharp football analysis page, and he's had the Saints selecting cornerback out of Maryland, Deonte Banks, which at first I was like, I don't know, man. You know, I think there could go maybe be a better route here, but I kind of like what he has to say. I kind of like what the what is going on around Banks. Almost everyone in the Saints secondary underachieved last year, which likely means changes are coming. Marshawn Lattimore will be back, but 2021 third-round pick Paulson Adebo has underwhelmed through 2 seasons. I have some thoughts there. I'll get to that in a second. But a number of cornerbacks are likely to come off the board near the back end of the first round, including Maryland's Deonte Banks, South Carolina's Cam Smith, and Mississippi State's Emmanuel Forbes. So let's look at the depth chart. Here's how it stands right this second. So as we are filming this on Tuesday, March 21st, this is how the depth chart is looking. You got Marshawn Lattimore holding it down as your right cornerback. You got Paulson Adebo on the left side. I honestly could see Alontae Taylor jumping a Paulson Adebo as your cornerback too. Bradley Roby is going to be back in the nickel. You signed Ugo Amadi in free agency. I wouldn't mind seeing Adebo get less snaps. I'm not saying he's bad. I'm not saying he's good. I have thoughts on that, but we'll get to that in a second. But let's focus in on Deonte Banks and why he could be a good fit. So his PFF grade, his overall PFF grade was a 72.0 for the Terrapins last year. And on targets for receptions, he was targeted 60 times, only let up 26 receptions. He also only let up 258 yards, had 8 pass breakups and 1 interception for Maryland last year. And now let's look at his combine results. 40-yard dash, 4.35. 10-yard split, 1.49. Vertical jump, 42. Broad jump, 11.4. Want to know what I'm seeing with these numbers? Athleticism, speed, being a dog. Like, these are numbers that I like in a cornerback, and as somebody who's going to have to possibly be on an island, somebody who's going to have to be their own advocate on the defense, who's not going to be able to rely on, your linebackers or other guys to help you out as much. The cornerback position isn't an easy one to play in the NFL, and I think Deonte Banks could actually be a pretty good fit for the New Orleans Saints. And now the idea here is, could you find a replacement for Paulson Adebo? And so my thoughts on Paulson Adebo, he struggled early last year. Towards the end of the season and the latter parts of the season, he really showed that he still has the playmaking ability. He is still the player that we all know and love that he can be. But that doesn't come without early season struggles. He's up and down, left and right, backwards, forwards, English, Spanish. I mean, it's kind of all over the place with Paulson Adebo, and I think that it wouldn't hurt to lock it down and to bring more talent, not more talent, but bring fresh, young, new legs. That's also cheap into that depth chart. One, to fill in, possibly replace, but two, more so to push the rest of the depth chart and make them work harder, make them play harder, make them produce more in order to earn their playing time. So there's a lot of ways that the Saints could go with the cornerback position or with the DB position in general. I don't hate the idea of bringing in the cornerback. I don't hate the idea of bringing in a safety. I honestly would probably go safety over cornerback in the first round, just in terms of I just don't love that Dan Sorensen is still going to be taking regular snaps. That just, if he's back playing for the Saints again, I just don't want him getting regular snaps. Sure, he had an interception last year, but, it's Dan Sorensen. But anyway, so let's talk about it. Favorite prospect, goodness gracious, out of the three that we talked about today. You got Bryan Bresee, the defensive tackle out of Clemson. You got Michael Mayer, the tight end out of Notre Dame, and you have Deonte Banks, the cornerback out of Maryland. Let me know, who Dat Nation, which one of these is your favorite prospect. And if you made it to the end of today's video and you aren't subscribed already, what are you doing, man? Hit that sub button and lock us in. Join our squad and join our gang. But I hope that y'all are all having a wonderful day. I hope you guys have a wonderful evening. Y'all stay golden, who Dat Nation. We'll catch you next time.